Hey there, Internet. R. Felix Finch here, and we're all stuck in quarantine. I'm there with you. I get it. It's not great, but you know what is great? Taking time to learn a new skill, which is why today I'm going to show you how to make one of these. That's right, these cloth masks that need no elastic. All you need is fabric of your own, and I learned this after 3 days of using a sewing machine, so I figure I might be able to help out with the simpler stuff because I don't know what I'm doing, but I do know how to make these. The first step, obviously, is going to be procuring your fabric. Now, there's many places you can go to get your fabric. Well, right now, you might be able to find some at Walmart, but chances are they're sold out. But you can go on Amazon, go to Joann, Michael's even, maybe, and they have curbside pickup available. Or if you have a local fabric shop that happens to be open in your town, you can go there. There are several varieties of prints you can get, such as some licensed character fabric. Maybe feeling some patriotic? I got myself some navy fabric here. Sweet like cherry, actually, this would probably make it nice. This would make a nice handbag, but could also make a nice mask. And for the sports fans in our lives, we have like San Francisco Giants here. Instead, what we're using today is going to be this wonderful rainbow pattern here, these rainbow stars, because why not? I think it looks great. Now this next part will require some additional equipment. You can find cutting mats like this, but I was lucky enough to find one that actually is 1 yard and self-healing, and that was like 14 bucks at a Walmart. All right, so we have our grid and we have our fabric on it now. What I want is 1 yard by 21 inches. The reason we have 1 yard is we can have 12 straps, which will give us 6 masks, 12 1.5-inch straps, which will take us to the 18-inch mark. After that, we get 2 9-inch sections that we can then cut into 3 7-inch sections, giving us the 6 front and backs for the masks. Now, the way you choose to cut it is up to you, but I like using the rolling blade and yardstick method, although if you just have scissors and follow this up 1.5 inch, 1.5 inch, 1.5 inch, 1.5 inch, all the way to 18, and then just 2 9-inch sections, that's fine too. Or, in fact, I think it's easier to cut the 2 9-inch sections first. Bippity bop, bippity boppity so. All right, and like magic, we now have our strips and panels cut. So you can take these, really just group them up.
All right, so let me have a moment here, just scooping everything together. I know that I sped this footage up, but really it's not important. You can see how easily I am grouping this together.
But the next thing we're going to do now is get our starting materials. So take one of the front and back panels. So this is known as wrong sides together, because if you open it up, it's the wrong side. You don't want to use that. So take these take 2 of the wrong sides together, and take 2 of your strips. This is what we're going to work with for the first mask. So our next part, we actually have to start getting to making the mask itself. Now, one thing I'm going to do ahead of time is I'm going to cut off just a hint of the edge. And you know what, since this is kind of clearly marked, I'm going to cut at this green here, but really you just want to take off a little in case you still have a little bit of selvage there. So that is going to go into our fabric scrap pile. And now, let's start ironing. So first, you want to get an iron, get it set right, and we want to make sure we iron our wrong sides together. And look at that. Beautiful. And set this kind of down here, because what I want to do next is I want to take one of these, lay it out as long as I can. So, open it up. this way. And the first thing I'm going to do is iron it flat this way. And I'm just hitting this side because of what we do next, which is we want to get this folded in half, hot dog style for those who may not remember from elementary school. So just make sure you touch the ends together. Get these ends together. All right, that's a good start. And then bring down the iron to press them, following to make sure you keep that edge going down. Obviously, I have a much longer iron, but a very limited scope of view here, so I want to make sure you're able to see it. So that's going to sacrifice my efficiency here. All right. Our two strips are to the side. We're going to deal with this now. Now, have this in front of you a long way. Make sure it's tall. This should be about 9 by 7. You want the 9-inch sides on the side because we're going to be shortening it. If you make this long, I'll have an example here. These are two currently used face masks, but that's the difference between having this lovely little square and then having this very long strip. You see it's a little longer. Also, it's a little bit of a more pain in the ass to put together. We're going to want some pins. I recommend the really long pointy ones. These are about 1.5 inches. These are about 1.5 inches with a nice big ball at the end. And a disappearing pen. If you don't have a disappearing pen, a white pencil should work. Something you can mark that will move from here. And you'll need a ruler. Now this one is a hemline ruler, but honestly, you can use a regular ruler as well. If you just happen to have like one of these boys or even the wooden one, they're good. Just make sure. In fact, I really do like these if you're just going right off the side. So what I like to do is I like to start by going, and I'll go with this side because I really like the way this shows. So I personally am going to go down about 1.5 inches here, and I'm going to find the 1.5 inch mark, and I'm going to mark it. And I like that this has a lot of stars because I can extend the mark, and it shows. Because there's a lot of black here as well. And then I'm going to go another 1.5 inches below that, and here that's the 3-inch mark. Kind of goes between these, but I guess the top of this star, and I'll even extend that. And I'll do the same on this side. I'll use the 3-inch here just to make it a little easier on myself. So at the 1.5 inch mark, and then over here towards the bottom as well. So you see, now we've got marks here, and I put them 1.5 inches away because you want 3/4 inch pleats, and making an 1.5 inch mark just makes it easier than trying to dot them, especially again when you're doing this and you don't really know quite what you're doing. Line up your lines together. You'll see a pleat forms. It folds over, and we are going to iron over that. So you see, that's nice and flat. We've got our first pleat. Now, if you want, right now, what you can start doing is start pinning in these pleats. Now, again, I'm using these nice long ones. It allows me to get a pretty long pin without bunching it up too much. And the reason I'm going outward is because you're not supposed to run the machine over the pins, but you know what? It actually makes it a little easier in this case. So then I'm going to feel kind of where the seam is. I feel where that fold goes. And I'm going to go back down to the 1.5 inch mark, which I find to be about right here. Same thing for the other side. Over here, find the fold. Found it. Go to the 1.5 inch mark. It's about right there. Once again, grab those marks and bring it to the fold. And we're going to repeat till we get this. All right, you see I have a much smaller square now. For comparison, boom, that's how much we've shrunk it, just in that small pleating process. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take this strip and line it up with the side. And don't worry about trying to color match because, spoiler alert, it will not. Have the open edge to the outside so you can kind of match edge to edge. And then once you match it edge to edge, go right underneath the bottom and clip off the end. And repeat, remix. What you want to do now is take that edge and open it up. And we're going to have fun with pins again. This time, I suggest going into the middle of this because you see we have a crease here. So go to the middle. Bring it through. Same thing on the other end. Go to the middle. Bring it through. And now somewhere here in the middle, try to reach it again between your pleats. And these should be easy enough to keep in place. And voila, we have it. We have a pin together thing. Now, let's get to the sewing. All right, so I messed up a little here. You can see this is the machine that I've rented, and I have black cloth over there. This is white thread. And white thread that I am almost out of. So let's take a quick moment to switch it out with some black as well as get a black bobbin going. Now we have our sewing machine ready to go. We have it threaded and we have our fabric here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with one side of the mask. Go to the little 1/4 inch mark, which you don't think you can see on this camera, but believe me, it'll be there on your sewing machine. And try to line up the needle, bring it down, press your foot down, go for it a couple stitches, and then remember to back stitch. On here it's a little lever, and then continue, and again try to keep this straight, try to keep it aligned up there. And like I said, you're not supposed to go over the needles, but I do anyway. And on the back stitch at the end, bring it back up. And then here, you can pull out all your little pokey boys. You see we've got one stitch there. Now, to hit the other side. Okay, now here comes a fun part. What you want to do is take this, fold it over, and then fold it over again. So what you'll end up with is something you can stitch a quarter way in, and the stitch will keep all the fabric together. All right, got one side. All right, now that this is all taken care of, let's go add some straps. Now we have our mask panel, but to really help those seams get in, let's press this. So, should be pretty easy. What we need to do next is add these straps. So taking one, make sure you fold it in half, put it to about the middle, open side facing up, and we're going to repeat the same thing we did for the sides without any cutting this time though. So make sure you get the edges lined up and relax, don't stretch it. You don't need to stretch on this. Just get a lovely little pinning going. And again, middle to the outside. Not supposed to, but I really like the way it's held the pins in for me. All right, we got this side. Now, let's get side the second. All right, so we have this pinned together. Now, back to the sewing machine. Now, we have our lovely put together face masks. And we're going to do the same thing to the sides, the top and bottom, that we did to the sides. Now we want to do the same fold over process on the top and bottom that we did on the sides. All right, now that we've got the top and bottom done, it's time to turn these into straps. So how we're going to do that is kind of the same way we did the top, bottom, and sides, where we fold this into itself. And then once we get a little strap like that, we pin through. Now, on this one, you want to make sure the open side faces to the left, since that's the way the machine is going to feed. If you have a machine that feeds you left-handed, do it that way. Make sure you fold in this end here to give yourself a nice little stop. Should absolutely be what you're looking at. And then bring it down. I like to start on the back stitch with this one. I feel like it makes it a little bit easier to work with. But obviously, if you have a better method than me, feel free to use it. That is one. Now we have 3 more of those to go. And there you go, one mask. Personally, I think I'm going to get more of this material because I really like it. I love the rainbow pattern. I love how it plays. And yeah, no elastic, so you just tie it behind you and you're good to go. And if you cut it the way I told you in the beginning, you have enough to make 5 more of these. Now, this particular set of instructions is thanks to Anna Holm of she's a voice actress on Ruby, and just an awesome person. So I've got to give her credit. I'll put a link to her text instructions from Twitter below. And if you want a video on how to make this in a little more professional way, I would say go check out Closet Champion. I'll put them in the link as well because they've been doing using sewing machines longer than I have. They kind of have a better understanding of what they're doing, and they show you how to use elastic, whereas mine are just cloth. So anyway, stick with the channel. Thanks for checking this out. Hope I was clear enough. I know this isn't exactly my forte. I don't do a lot of DIY stuff, but yeah, I've got plenty more mess to make with so much fabric, all the fabric. Peace out, party peoples. Until next time.